It is a hard transition, but it doesn't mean that we can't do it. We have to welcome the challenge.
I see a lot of mothers that instead of going and working for corporate America in a sense, they are very entrepreneurial. Have you seen the same being also a good path for them?
Our loyal employees, we are able to multitask. We're resilient. We work hard. So it's about changing the narrative out there in the job market, but it starts with us.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the How to Get a Job podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about how moms can get back into the workforce. And to talk about this important topic, I have an amazing guest with me today. I have Stephanie Allen. She's a career confidence coach for moms relaunching their careers in their midlife. Stephanie, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be with you today, Daniel. And I love your energy, and I'm pumped about this podcast today. So let's get going.
Oh, let's get going. When I do podcasts, I get re-energized, but I also just learned a hack. I love coffee, and my coach is saying I need to do more protein shakes. So I added a shot of espresso in a protein shake, and
Oh.
it's like magic. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Okay, all right. We hope that coach is right. I'm ready for you with that
Um,
espresso.
Perfect,
Let's
perfect.
go.
So, why this is a really good topic for me, even though I'm not a mother, and actually my mom actually worked her whole life because my dad died when I was young. It's actually more about like how about my mother-in-law, right? My mother-in-law married my father-in-law. They had kids, and she stayed at home, uh, and she had a master's in psychology. And I remember
Mhm.
her at one point, really, this is like about 5 years back, wanting to get back to the workforce and really struggle. One, her identity was tied to being a mother because for the
Mhm.
last decade or so, she was a mother, right?
Yes.
And then when she
Mhm.
she was like, "Hey, but I have a master's degree. Like, why can't I get a job?" It was really hard for her because she felt like if okay she could go get a job at like a retail store, but she's like, hey, like I went to school, I did all of this, and then she
Yes.
couldn't do it. And I think she tried for about a year, and she ultimately didn't get the type of job that she was wanting for. I remember her asking me advice for resume, and in fact, like I think it's very difficult, and that's why I do think like it's why I'm so excited to have you on the podcast to talk a lot about this because I think you're right. I think
Yeah.
they, more than anything, a mother relaunching her career should work with a career coach. But we'd love to hear from your perspective, Stephanie. Why is that such a hard transition? And what are some things that mothers looking to go and relaunch in their career should be thinking about or doing?
Okay. It is a hard transition, but it doesn't mean that we can't do it. We have to welcome the challenge. That's the most important thing. It's all about perspective. And I am a certified life coach and career coach. And my experience sounds very much like your mother in law's. I was a military spouse for a number of years. In fact, my husband just retired from the military. And so I stepped off of my career for a little while to follow him and embrace raising my three children and embracing the military lifestyle and supporting him and the military families. That was so much valuable experience in itself. But I did not value that. And I think that's the problem with moms getting back out into the workforce. They don't own their own professional journey that they have had. They look at it as if it's not enough. And I had had a lucrative career prior to stepping off into the sunset with my husband and following him all around the world. And I had gained a ton of experience, and there's value in that, but also the value of the experience I gained just as a mom, as a woman, volunteering, and even before I got back into the workforce, there's depth to that experience as well. So we need to understand our value. We need to tell a better career story and believe that we're absolutely not done. So it's all about owning our own confidence, but then taking personal responsibility and being accountable to upgrade our skills, identify where we need to upskill, and making ourselves more marketable. So it's, we're valuable, but yet we've got to keep up with the modern job market today. And in my program, it's called Relaunch in 90. I help them be relaunch ready within a 90-day period of time to be able to do that.
I love that. I love that. I want to talk more in a little bit, kind of play like devil's advocate, or not so much as devil advocate, but more about like the limiting beliefs that I would assume, or actually I've even heard my mother-in-law and others that I've kind of met that kind of have reached out to, like family, friends, mothers that reach out to me and have said this. One is, okay, but like I haven't worked officially in 10 years. What companies are looking for people who have relevant experience?
There actually are a number of companies that are wanting to work with moms right now. Things are changing. There is a staffing firm called the Mom Project, and there are so many jobs coming from that organization. We're really responsible to help each other change the narrative out there as far as companies using moms. We are loyal employees. We are able to multitask. We're resilient. We work hard. So it's about changing the narrative out there in the job market, but it starts with us and believing that and being advocates for each other.
I love that. What I'm hearing a lot is that there's a lot of transferable skills that like we're just not given the credit to. Like if you're involved in volunteering at your school or you're multitasking, there's a lot of like soft skills that are transferable to amazing careers. So what are some of those careers or jobs or industries that you see make really good to transition for, like, because right now, like if I thinking about your audience, like if it's a mother, it's like aside from working at the mall at a retail store making like $15-$20 an hour, which is what that pay is now, like I don't know, they might be thinking like they're not qualified for anything else. What are some of those career paths that you might see could work really well or have your clients have found success in?
Certainly. Well, personally, for me, I have a background in human resource management. I, like your mother in law, received a master's when we were in Okinawa, our first duty station after I followed my husband. I'm like, how am I going to make myself more marketable here? So I have a master's in business management with an HR concentration. I didn't use that for a number of years, other than managing the human resources within my home, my three children that I raised, but then also, of course, working with a number of military spouses and families and helping them. So I ended up going back and getting a career coach myself that specialized in helping military spouses, and
Mm,
she saw something in me. I felt so down on myself. I didn't feel like I had enough experience to get back out there, and she helped me to tell a different story. So I would say just within the human resources field, I think that's a great place to start as far as getting back out there, maybe on an executive assistant capacity, and then moving into a human resource assistant, possibly eventually into on the management side. There's things in nursing. There's opportunities within accounting. There's opportunities within travel. I mean, whatever it is that you're interested in and passionate about, I think that's the most important thing. We talked about confidence, but we also need to know our compelling reason for wanting to get out there. Again, it's got to be really strong. I mean, of course, we want to create a better quality of life for ourselves and our families, but what is the reason that's going to have true staying power? And what I do is, before we even talk about those ideal careers, and I let them know, what it looks like best in the job market now, we have to figure out what the life description is that we want at this time and identify the best careers that match the life description that we want. And it's all different. And it's okay if we need a little bit more flexibility because we are still juggling things at home. I think organizations are getting on board with that a little bit more, just to be able to utilize this significant workforce that they do need, because millions of moms are getting back into the workforce at this time, especially after COVID.
yeah, no, I've seen I think there's a lot of transferable skills in like client success industry, and like I think that's a relatively kind of new. It's not customer service where people are calling upset. Client
Mhm,
success is where
mhm.
you're managing some certain accounts and you're being proactive about maintaining and retaining the clients for the company. And I think that's a
Yes,
really like
yes.
work from home type of job. It uses a lot of the transferable skills the mothers have with like relationship buildings, multitasking, dealing with difficult conversations. And I think that's a really good career. I've also noticed, and maybe this is just me, I would love to hear your thoughts. I see a lot of mothers that instead of going and working for corporate America in a sense, they are very entrepreneurial. Have you seen the same being also a good path for them?
Oh, absolutely, and I'm so glad that you brought that up because that was my journey. When my husband was still in the military, I went back to work and I worked within an HR department. I was an HR assistant for a period of time, and then I went to work for a nonprofit. And that organization, I was a military family employment advocate. So I helped military family members get back into the workforce because that puts a strain on those families again with through my experience moving around all the time. And I worked for a company as a contractor. So, and then I decided, I'm going to take all of my experience into my own hands. I got a certified life coach certification, and I am going to start my own business because it was just prior to COVID. There weren't a lot of remote opportunities, as many for military spouses or for moms. And so, absolutely, that's a great way to go too. And in fact, we talk about that in my program as well. It's so important to really take a breath and make sure you want to go back to the corporate setting. Do you want to go back to doing what you've done before? Life is different now, and you're different as a woman. You've changed. We acquire so much depth just through our life experience and also from being moms. That's my first session that I work with them on is just really figuring out what that ideal career is that they want now. And most often, it is a business, and that's entirely within their wheelhouse. I was able to do it just because of my own experience and this passion to help more moms be able to get back out there. And certainly they can do that too.
Amazing. I know you talk a lot about the CPR, confidence, purpose, and relevancy. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Sure. All right. So I think this is kind of exciting. I mean, you and I are talking, we're pumped this morning, but when we think about like, let's resuscitate our career, let's just give our career a little bit of CPR. And so within my Relaunch in 90 program, it's 12 weeks of one on one private coaching where they work with me to where we do give their career some resuscitation. So we again look at all of the value of what they've done before, but we first start by helping them increase their confidence level. Let's look back at all you've accomplished thus far in your career prior to being a mom. What experience have you gained even when you stepped off and had a career break for a period of time? Certainly there's things that they're still doing, they're still networking, their skill sets they have obtained. So we really help them to be more confident. But then what is their purpose? Like I just said, you were talking about, going in, maybe starting their own business. What are they passionate about now? Another option, and where I find a lot of moms are interested in, is working for nonprofits. I mean, they've discovered things that are so important to them. They either want to start a nonprofit or they want to work for a nonprofit, but the passion, the purpose, which is the P, right, in CPR, so we have confidence, and then we've got purpose, passion. That's what's going to get them up in the morning. That's what's going to drive them, even in this Relaunch in 90 program, once they really have got that. They know their why and their compelling reason for want to get back out there. And it gives their career true staying power because you talked about customer service. Yes, that's a great career for moms, but if we really harness that service and we're going to work to serve that organization that we're working for and serve those clients and we know why we're doing it and we're passionate about it. Again, that's the P. And then relevancy on the end. Just okay, so we have to take responsibility and be accountable to catch up and make ourselves more marketable. But guess what? We can do that within a much shorter period of time than we think. There's online courses that are free. LinkedIn, for example, it's not necessarily, you have to, purchase their learning program, but it's reasonably priced. And there are so many courses that you can take and add them onto your LinkedIn profile right away. And I've got a number of resources in my program, free courses, where all of a sudden, you know we've got all we've really packed our resume and our LinkedIn profile with more courses, more skill set. Plus we can volunteer, we can job shadow, we can pursue returnships, we can do some freelance work, we can work doing some staffing work for a staffing industry, maybe some temporary jobs for a period of time. We can reconnect with our industry. We can start to talk online and be thought leaders again. There's just so many things that we can do more quickly than we think, again, to become more relevant. And yes, that's the CPR that we apply within my Relaunch in 90 program.
Fantastic. Stephanie, what do you think about like maybe the job gap that, that could be on that resume? And do you think how do you have mothers overcome that?
Well, first off, we've got to be honest about it. We've got to be, and most importantly, honest to ourselves. And then what does that mean? What does that career gap mean to us? I think we need to, this is where the life coaching comes in. Okay, there is a circumstance where I was out of the workforce for a period of time. Well, first of all, we got to own our decision. We got to look back on the decision and believe, okay, yeah, I would have made that decision again. I decided to spend that period of time with my children and caretaking for them. I own that decision. So that's the most important, is that ownership during that career break. Okay. And then in turn, what did I do during that career break? When I really look, I didn't sit around. This is such a cliche, right? Eating bonbons during that. I mean, I was really, managing the home, managing the finances. I was, doing logistics. There's so many things just being home with kids that make us worth at least $100,000, right? When you look at all that skill set. But also most likely we've been doing a lot of volunteering for the PTA, or like me, I was a volunteer in helping military families. There were probably some classes we took during that time. We're more valuable than we think. We've made ourselves more valuable than we realized during that career break. And so that's what we need to own, and we need to be confident about that on a resume, honest and confident about that, and in interviews when we're and confidently communicate that to employers. And this is why even that career break still makes me valuable for your organization, and be able to break down examples of here's why.
How important then the networking is it to get the shot, right? To get to the interview, to be able to showcase that? Because sometimes, like I see the networking plays a big role when I'm helping people get their first job. Do you think
Mhm.
networking plays an important role here too? If so, how?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, and if so, how?
Okay. Well, I feel like, and this is just the experience I've had with the people that I've worked with, that, I help them with that personal branding on the outside, their career image on the outside, of course, which is what shows up on LinkedIn, in their resumes, cover letters, things like that, the way they're speaking online. So that's that external career image. That's a personal branding job in itself. But, even within the networking, that's one of the most important things. I feel like, just to get back out there and start talking to people, go back to those same organizations. If you're wanting to get back into that career field, get back with your old colleagues, maybe even people that you've mentored, other employees, start conversations. The networking piece is one of the most important things. The thing is we really undervalue our mom network, right? Our mom network is strong. And there are also not just our mom network, that are moms that are at home, the working moms that we know, and just really working together to be advocates for one another. So that's something else that we talk about in my program is the networking confidence. And then they also have a goal that they're expected to get up to 500 contacts on LinkedIn, within that 90-day period of time to attend these networking functions. And we really break down how to show up in those instances, also as a servant leader, not just from what you're going to get from somebody, but what it is that is valuable about you that is going to be able to help them, and then also help them within their career,
Yeah.
because we need to be in this for each other.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Stephanie, as we wrap it up, we'd love for you to tell a little bit more about your program. And if people listening to this want to learn more about it, where can they get a hold of you or learn more about in the program?
Sure. Okay, great. Yes. Well, I am on LinkedIn as Stephanie N. Allen. I'm also on LinkedIn as Stephanie Allen Coaching, and I'm at Stephanie Allen Coaching on Facebook as well as Instagram. I also have a website, and it's StephanieAllenCoaching.com. And if you want to get in touch with me personally, they can email me at stephanieallenlifecoach@gmail.com. But most importantly, I do again have a Relaunch in 90 one-on-one private coaching program where for a period of 90 days, I help them to be relaunch ready to get back out there, not only on the outside, but it's as we mentioned, it's the confidence, the career confidence I help them to obtain again. It's an inside job, and we take a little while to get used to that mom identity. It's so foreign when we start to have kids, right? I remember, I had been out in the workforce and doing a lot of sales and marketing. I was a division director for a staffing firm, a branch manager. And so when it came to my kids, I'm like, all right, I literally was thinking about, okay, marketing, it's similar to when I'm sending like, um, Christmas cards out, pictures of my children, or keeping people updated online about what we're up to. That's a marketing job. I mean, I was aligning what I had done at home to what I had done in my career. So what I'm saying is, I was so career focused. It took me a bit to kind of get into that mom identity, and let's be patient with ourselves. Let's have fun with this process. Let's understand that it's going to take a bit to get to our career identity again, to be able to get comfortable with that. We feel like we have two left feet when it comes to that as well. So it's so important that I have this container for moms to really explore and hold space for themselves, to be patient with themselves on that, and most importantly, have fun. So I do have, and I'm hoping that you're going to post this, and I believe I provided this information to you. They have an opportunity to just come chat with me, have a free consultation. Let me know what you think you want, right? And what the result is that you think that you want right now as far as your career, and we'll diagnose what the problem is and what it is that's so difficult for you. And then I'll let you know how my program helps you find the solution. And so we spend a lot of time just talking and answering questions and getting to know one another in that process. So I'm hoping I provided you a link. If anyone is interested out there, I'd love to chat with you
Perfect.
and see
So
if
what
I'm
we'll
the
do,
coach for you.
Stephanie, what we'll do is we'll put up all the links for all you listening today. Links to their website, your Stephanie's website, her LinkedIn, and her Instagram, so you guys can connect with it. If you do know anybody, or if you're it's a mother looking to get really back into the workforce, share this episode. Share Stephanie's LinkedIn profile. Really help spread the word. Stephanie, thank you so much for being here. Thank you everyone for listening, and catch you guys on the next episode. Bye.
All right. Thank you.